Kimbo, Tata nZambi Yamazulu, Kim Fumo Chaku Isa, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Betwabu, Away Nusiemi, Cambo Tekieno, Yenge family, Luvuvamu. Greetings to all the Bantus and non-Bantus scattered across the earth. And those who are, for those especially who are part of this cause, especially for the Banabetu who are coming into this awakening, I bid you greetings. Well, nothing's more powerful for me than to take a hit and keep going. That's how I see it. So the Most High, when it comes to spiritual warfare, there's a lot going on. And for me, it's to show the principalities of darkness that those who fight for those who want to be in the light cannot be defeated, no matter what. And I pray to the Most High, Tata nZambi and Pungo, hallelujah, Kimbo, Tata nZambi and Pungo Tulendo, Bawa di Kolele, for my zonos against thee. Tata nZambi and Pungo Tulendo, ask that the Monan Velela will guide me these words at this time. Tata, Tata nZambi and Pungo, that those who would have an ear to hear, that they listen, Father, and that the words would be mine and not yours. I mean, yours and not mine. Excuse me. Yours and not mine. But would be for our people to comprehend and grow in knowledge and understanding of you. Nakombo yo, Yahweh Congo, Bene Yahweh Congo, Tata nZambi and Pungo Tulendo Ingeta. First, giving honor to Kuswa Congo, Isaiah, the Mwan Velila, to the 24 elders, all the ancestry of the Solele, the Maliki Congo, all of us at this time, I come before you at a time of humbling and preparedness as we continue to move forward to retake our position in this world that was taken from us through disobedience to the Father, and soon will be restored to us as the world will see what took place. I'm going to start with Mark 3:11. It's kind of funny because I happen to be looking at something with the Matrix, and I remember the ship was called the Nebuchadnezzar, and in the template it said Mark 3:11, and it said, and I said, you know what? Why do I not think that that was actually a Bible verse that they were trying to show people of this time that was coming, since all that movie is those three movies are very, they're demonic, but at the same time have hidden messages. It says that the unclean spirits, when they saw him, fell down before him and cried, saying, excuse me, thou art the Ben nZambi, the Ben Congo. Of course, there are going to be those who say it reads Son of God, as we all know. But for those of us who are awoke and those of us who are continuing to move forward, the name God was never what was used to call his name. But the world has been deceived by those who worship Baal in secret and don't know it. And that's part of the problem here, because it's all about spiritual warfare. And the spiritual warfare goes against those, again, even it's going to be even against those who think they always knew and don't know, aren't even close to knowing the real truth. And that's why we have to be prepared as we move forward. So with this title, what I'm going to be talking about today is the arsenal of the Most High. Do you know, or do you have prepared yourself to be able to use it in this time of battle? I was watching the video, some of Kepler's video about walking with the Most High, walking with the Limo, what that transfers into. And it kind of goes along with how our ancestors fought battles, especially in the days when Isolele still existed, when Jerusalem was built, and we fought against the Persians and other countries, other nations. When the Most High took us and he did what happened with the 300, so I'm going to go and get into this. So we have where in 2 Corinthians it says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but divinely powerful for the destruction of fortresses." So what basically saying with Paula is we have the ability to use divine power and divine abilities to bring down fortresses, to bring down strongholds, physical strongholds. Okay, not just spiritual strongholds, but physical strongholds as well. When we talk about the spiritual world, how we say that you should be walking on both sides if you're truly not carnal but spiritual, that this is something that's significant of how we're supposed to be operating when we're not in the flesh, and that we must raise our consciousness to the level of being able to use the weapons of the Most High. So we know that when it comes to the weapons of Tata nZambi or the Most High, okay, it talks about, let's see if it has it. You have to put on the full armor. Talks about the full armor of the Most High. So 1 second. See, I guarantee you when you talk to most Christians, what I'm about to ask them or what I'm about to say, many of them won't even know the answer. Guaranteed. So when we go to Ephesians, so it says, "Put on the whole armor of Tata nZambi, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil." So here's the problem that many people don't even know. That's part of the issue as to why many people suffer when it comes to spiritual warfare. Do you even have the full armor of the Most High on you? That's the first question. And how do you know? "For we wrestle not against the flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this spiritual world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." Keep this in mind anytime you see. So what this is trying to tell you, okay, is that when you are interacting with human beings, and this will tell you where you are spiritually with the Most High. Can you do like what Toko and Kimbangu and Kuswa and others could do? Can you see what others don't see about a person? Can you recognize what other people don't recognize about a person? When I'm looking at a person, do I see just a human being or a person, or do I see the spiritual entity that controls that person, or is the dominant controlling part of that person? And this is important because in order to use the Most High's armor or his weapons, you must first be able to operate in the spirit. Okay. And this is what many people don't understand, is to use the Most High's weapons require you to be able to operate in the spirit. Okay. For we wrestle not again. Okay, so wherefore take unto the whole armor of the Most High, Tata nZambi, that ye may be able to withstand the evil in the day, and having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt with the truth. Okay, we know that this is the belt of Congo. And having the breastplate of righteousness. Now, what does that look like in the spirit? When you carry around a breastplate of righteousness, how does that look? What does that mean? Have your feet shod with the preparation, and of course they call it the ghost spell, which actually it's supposed to be the word of peace, and we know who the word is. Okay. Okay. So basically, what this is saying to you is, are your feet shod? Is the gospel or the word of peace in your body, in your feet? Is it around your feet? Okay. All right. Above all, so basically what I'm saying here is that when you walk in the presence of others, your feet show them who you are, what soldier you are. Above all, take the shield of faith, wherein you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Okay. The shield of faith. What does that look like? Faith in what? Faith in what? And take the helmet of salvation. Okay. The salvation part. Okay. The helmet of salvation. Who are you looking for salvation? What helmet should that be? Who is the salvation? And the sword of the spirit, which is the word of Tata nZambi. So one of the things you'll get people to say, okay, they'll say, oh yeah, the Bible is your sword. 100%, because it's the word of the Most High. Well, guess what? The Bible, like we have all been saying, contains the word of the Most High, but is not the full truth of the Most High. And there are those, this is how Balaam or Baal has deceived the whole world in pretending to be the creator. Lucifer basically has done that, because the point is, if you think the Bible, walking around with the Bible in your hand is your sword, this is part of the deception. Okay. What you need to understand is the word of the Most High must be inside of you. So you cannot draw a sword. The spirit or the Mwanan Velela must be inside of you, that you would be able to draw a sword against all wickedness. Okay. So the word of the Most High, if you want to understand it better, in the beginning was the word, and the word was with the Most High, and the word was the Most High. So basically, you must, in order to have a sword of the spirit, you must be occupied by the spirit of Congo, the spirit of truth, the word of Tata nZambi and Pungo. See, because none of your weapons, see, this is how the world has been deceived. Okay. The reason why you can't even see those who are misleading people and are blinding people with scales over their eyes and are convinced that they know what's really going on, and you can't tell them nothing, is because they're convinced that they're actually putting on the whole armor of God. Well, the problem is, if you are lukewarm, which is what many people are, you can tell what's getting ready to happen this weekend. That's a given. Okay. Many people who claim to know the Most High are running around lukewarm. Then how do you have the full armor of the Most High? That's why even in our everyday tasks and everywhere work, as I have now understood, is that you must maintain yourself, okay, in a position where you are worthy of the armor. Now, here's the biggest deception of all of this, what I just said: worthy of the armor. You can't just put on the whole armor of the Most High if you are not with the Most High, if you are not with Tata nZambi, if you are not of Tata nZambi, if you are not of Congo, okay, then you cannot just put the armor on. You must actually be walking with Elimo, which means that you must have a connection to the Mwanan Velela to be in spirit and in truth. So the only way to put on the whole armor truly of Tata nZambi, to where you can be able to withstand all of the things that are happening and to be able to see the enemy in clear view, is to be found worthy of this armor. Okay. See, this is why it was important to give people a watered down version of the scriptures for those who want to maintain their power over this world. Because you have spiritual darknesses in high places. You have a world against spiritual wickedness. You have the rulers of darkness, okay? That's why it's very easy for them to tell you, oh yeah, we're all Christians and we believe in God and this and that and all that. When in reality, they're ravening wolves. But you don't see it because you don't have the true armor of the Most High, Tata nZambi. You have been And I'm gonna tell you, this is how ignorant people are. Your pastor, your spiritual leader, okay, cannot give you the armor of the Most High. Let me say it again. Your pastor, the person standing up there preaching every Sunday, okay, those who walk in the, those who sit there and preach sermons, but yet every Sunday they're not actually demonstrating the gifts of the Spirit the way they're supposed to be, helping people when they change their lives, like the way the scripture talks about it, walking like Isaiah. Okay, it says, they're telling you, oh yeah, you have put on the full armor. You have to put on the full armor. The only way you can put on the full armor is if the Most High gives it to you. And this is how the establishment has played the world into stealing and playing the keep away game in the name of the Lord or the Creator or whatever they want to, however they want to call it, and you remain blinded and you don't even see what's coming at you right now. Now, as the veil, what's going to happen soon is as the spiritual and the physical realm that veil becomes split, and you can no longer have, you'll no longer have that separation. You have to have your spiritual ability to use your weapons against those who will now come out of the darkness and work against you. Okay. See, they're masquerading now, but soon they won't be able to masquerade. And the question is, are you ready for that? So let's go back to, I'm sorry that my enthusiasm is kind of low. I'm sorry. trying to recharge here. But hey, this is something that people need to be prepared for more and more. And this is something that people need to understand, is that the reality is you have to be able to use the Most High's arsenal. Psalm 7:13, he has also prepared for himself deadly weapons. He makes his arrows fiery shafts. So Tata nZambi, what is showing, if you've ever, anybody who's ever been in the military, you have an arsenal. Your arsenal, the arsenal you prepare is based upon how much of an effective force you can be against an enemy. Okay. Now, the problem with human beings versus Tata nZambi or the Most High is his arsenal. As we go down here, it says the armory. Lamilia 50:25. The Most High has opened his armory. He has brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For it is a work of the most Tata nZambi of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Okay. The armory of the Most High is unlimitless. He has an unlimitless armory of his weapons. Okay. And in order to wield this, okay, let's go to, remember, you have to understand there's going to be an army I mean, yes, we do use prayer. Prayer is very powerful. Okay, we know that's part of it, but at the same time, once you pray, you have the weapons at your disposal to wield them. Do you know how to wield them in the proper way, and how will you do it? So let's get to the part where it says, he said, so I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came unto them, and they lived and stood up upon their feet, an exceedingly great army. Well, this army is going to have an arsenal of weaponry, spiritual weaponry. Well, what does that look like? You see, and this is where many people don't understand. Let's go to Revelations. Okay, you have here, okay, where you have an army, they're going to have weapons, they're going to have abilities to use what the Most High's arsenal is providing them. So let's go behold. So your weapons, okay, are not of flesh and blood. We know that. So these weapons, you're not going to be able to use fleshly weapons. You're going to have to use spiritual weapons. One of the mockeries of how that looks when you look at when they mock the Most High, of course, is like the Green Lantern, when he was sitting there using his ring and he had to go and he said, what you think manifests your spiritual power from within. That's what they were trying to show you. Okay, that the weapons of the Most High at your disposal are based off of how much you're able to understand the connection of the armor of the Most High's army, of being considered a soldier. Now you hear people saying we are soldiers in the army. Okay, people don't understand. Malakis don't fight like flesh people do. Angels fight with spiritual warfare. Okay, and they have the means to jack people up when they even can't see them. Okay, people understand that the Most High's Malakis or angels can cause damage. People understand, you know, you're looking at all this hurricane, tornado, whatever you want to, flooding. Okay, this is all part of what we call the army of indignation, where you can use the water, you can use the air, you can use the trees, you can use the animals, you can use the, you know, all kind of things that can happen. People don't even know. It's an unlimited arsenal, because whatever belongs to the Most High that allows you to use for the time of defense is usable. Just to give you an example, they kind of gave you this idea. You know, people don't even realize that Tarzan is really mocking Kuswa Kongo. He's the king of the jungle, by the way. That's why they say the lion is the king of the jungle. They're talking about Simba Wayuda. They're talking about, why do they call lions the king of the jungle? Because they're not talking about the African lion. They're talking about the Lion of Judah, the Simba Wayuda. He's the lion of the jungle because his domain is Africa. Imbu. That's why they sang the song, "The Lion Sleeps." He's not sleeping no more. Okay, people don't understand that. He's wide awake. So when we talk about spiritual warfare, okay, remember it was spiritual warfare that allowed Davidi to kill Goliath. A stone became a missile. Boom, sunk it in his head. Okay. Um, you saw where the Most High brought down fire and brimstone on Sodom and Gomorrah, calling down fire for the men who showed up. Okay. And these men were visible because they tried to mess with them. So they were there physically, they were there in physical form, but they were not normal men, to the point where Lot said, "You can have my daughters, leave these men alone." Okay. Not considering the power of these men and the things that they could do was going to be far outweigh what people could understand. The manipulation of the elements to bring down whatever you need. Okay. You know, just to give a prime example of being able to manipulate the things that you need to do to fight with spiritual warfare. You know, taking the water and using it as a means to flush your enemies down. You know, like Masa, the water split, and the water came back. Talking to the water came up, and then the water came back and destroyed the enemies. Okay, spiritual warfare. You know, like in the case of Dr. Simon Toko, he could talk to the animals. This is where Kimbangu could too. This is where your whole Tarzan thing comes into play, where they try to mock it. Of course, they want to make, you know, they always put themselves into the picture. Okay. But it was our spiritual ability to interact with nature, to use it to our advantage against our enemies. Because of the spiritual connection with us in the Most High, the, you know, speaking thought without even talking, you know, how should I say, you know, telepathy, both people and animals, uh, telepathy, you know, and all the, and you know, and then also moving, like the scriptures say, you can move the trees, you can move what a mountain, you can cause the mountain to fall on somebody. Boom! They run into the pass, and the mountain moves, and they just kind of just fall by the wayside. Like, whoa, where did that mountain just go? You see, this is what we're talking about. You know, when we say put on the full armor, and also the spiritual connection and weaponry of Tata nZambi and Pungu Talendo. You know, where everything is at your disposal as to what you are willing to use to accomplish what your means are need to be. Okay. This is how this war is going to be fought, because you will use things that people won't even comprehend in the flesh at all. They can't comprehend it. It'll be like, wait a minute, how can that be? That's not physical. Anything that they say is not physically possible. Okay, that will be the spiritual armory, the warfare. Okay. It's like Isaiah 13:5 says, they are coming from a far country, from the farthest horizons, the Most High and his instruments of indignation to destroy the whole land. Okay. The Most High has so many weapons that he is able to call upon that the world can't even comprehend what he has, no matter what they come up with, no matter what they build. Okay. You know, in the case of Habakkuk, the sun and the moon can work to your advantage. Okay. Isaiah 10:5, woe to the Assyrian, the rod of my anger and the staff in whose hand is my indignation. See, you don't even know that the power that we possess has the ability to destroy all entire military forces, something that they are very much aware of when it comes to the power of the Most High. This is why weapons of the flesh, weapons designed by man, built by man, constructed by man, no matter if they're inspired by the beings that they work with, cannot compare to what the Most High has. Okay, that's why when we go to, let's go a second. See, I don't think people truly understand the level of what's the the level of the things that are to come to fully grasp the concept of what's going to happen. So let's go to Revelation. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he would smite the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Tata nZambi, which is what Nzambi and Tata nZambi and Pungutulendo, what Tata nZambi, Almighty Creator, okay? Tread the winepress, tread at the winepress. Take this into consideration, okay? The whole earth, it says here, he shall smite the nations. Now, here's what people don't understand is, and this is where people have been misled. If you are part of the body of Kuswakongo or of the Most High, if you're a part of that whole family, which means that you are family, you are family with the Most High, which means that you, the Malekis, know who you are. They recognize you as their brother, their sister. The Mwanan Velala truly resides in you spiritually. You truly are a child of the Most High, Yah Kongo. Okay. Then when he comes to tread the wine presses, you will be that Ezekiel 37 army that comes along with that. He had his clothes with a vesture dipped in blood. Okay. Blood means dead people, bodies gone, deceased. Okay. Destruction of people. Let's talk about the blood for that. This is the arsenal. This is the army. This is how you have to understand. Okay, let's go back to Revelation just to give an idea of what we're talking about here. People don't get it, man. I talked about the governor. He used to love to use this scripture to kill Native Americans, by the way, here in Colorado. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and the blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horses' bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. Okay, I want you to imagine, and I talked about this once before, I think I even showed a picture where the person showed it. but really comprehend what is going to be the reality of this world. Okay? The arsenal of the Most High, the warfare, the destruction, the things that are coming will bring the blood. Just put a horse, just pick a horse, put it in your head. You know what a horse is. You take the tallest one you can think of, okay, if you want. Quarter horse, I think quarter horses other before the Clydesdale. Some have the saddle horses or whatever sometimes. That means that from the feet up, okay, that horse is covered in blood up to where his head is up here. All everywhere. Drowning in blood, pretty much. Okay. This is the day of Tata nZambi Pungutleno. This is the day of the Most High. This is the process of removing unrighteousness and wickedness from his sight, in which those, okay, who are with the Most High will be exhibiting. See, people don't tell you, okay, that there was a lot of bloodshed going on even as the flood came. Okay, things were going down at that time. So it's not going to be like something new. The Most High is really aware of how this is going to play out. But in order for us to be able to do this, we must learn to use how to fight with our spiritual weapons, including your ancestry, your family. They are already girded. They are ready to fight on behalf of Isolele when the time comes to bring all of this stuff to a head. See, you're going to have to understand something. The world's about to experience a warfare like they have never seen before. This type of stuff that they're doing now, yeah, whatever. No, this stuff is going to be off the charts. Okay. Go to verse 18. And another Maliki or angel came out from the altar which had power over fire and cried at the Most High, the Lord cried aloud to him. He had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in the sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the grape, for her grapes are fully ripe. Okay. So this again is part of this harvest. Okay, the destruction is part of it too. So there are those who are going to the wine press, and there are those who are not. Okay. I'm telling you, if you have a worldly mindset, and this is something that many of us, even now in this awakening, have to break free of, trust me, this is going to be part of your judgment. See, because if you continue to believe in something that was not real, but was taught to you like it was, then you have been played by those who used it to their advantage. See, because they know they're teaching another Jesus. They know they're teaching another God. They know that they're using the deception of history that they created their own while they modified and destroyed all the other stuff so that you would not know that you are in fact all the tares. As long as you keep people thinking that they're the wheat, they will continue to contribute to your cause. Bottom line, this is how masquerading operates. Masquerading means you look the part as you hide the part. And soon that hidden factor is going to go away. And this is the transitioning we're getting ready to go into now. Okay, that is this now time for the battle to begin. The spiritual warfare of the destruction of this world. Many are going to find themselves that they were on the wrong side, that they never had permission. Hold on one second. All right, sorry about that. So, you know, the one thing that's imperative for the people in this Bantu awakening to realize is the portrayal of what they keep showing you in Hollywood is not just coming from global forces that are just like normal changes in the earth. That's a lie. These things that you're going to see, these upheavals of earth, land, so-called chariots, what they want to call aliens in some cases, okay, Malekis, we angels, you know, you're going to see some things that are out of the ordinary. Now, of course, will they say that some of this stuff is being done by whatever Project Blue Beam or whatever they want to call it? Yeah. But that's also because when the reality does hit that it isn't that, you'll be dumbed down to it. You know, a lot of the stuff that they're doing is kind of like messing with your head kind of stuff. But then when the reality hits, it's going to be like nothing you've ever seen. And that's why, you know, they're using the technology to mess with your head and to show you different things that they're trying to control mentally. You know, the whole AI concept, you know, they need to do these things in order to keep people in what they call a true, what do you call this, virtual reality mindset. You know, a lot of people have been connected to virtual reality. They've been doing so many false, you know, the news and everything, you know, how some things are real and some things are not. And so when the reality hits of what's coming, people are going to be caught off guard on purpose because they're going to think, oh yeah, you know, we have this time and this and that, when really there is no time. Okay. And like I said, it's a strong delusion of many different things. But the whole concept of spiritual warfare, you know, when I show this, you know, like I said, when I show this whole concept, it's the understanding that the reality will be overwhelmed by the spiritual. What you perceive as a reality, what you've seen in the carnal world as the flesh, okay, will be overpowered by the spirit world, the true spirit world, the one that they try to keep people from knowing about, you know, the Bantu people who will be turning into the warriors of this time frame, that the Benakongo will rise up and restore to themselves the kingdom that was taken from them so long ago. And those who continue to reside on the side of the beast will at that point be taken away with the beast when the time comes. So like I said, we have to, I don't want to do this too long, but where it talks about here, let's go up to the beginning. And look, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Sioni. Mount Sioni. This is why we've been saying he's marking his territory in Africa, because we know that's where it's at. And with him 144,000 having his father's name written on their foreheads. Okay. The people in Mount Kenya have been talking, preparing for that. I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters and as the voice of great thunder, and heard the voice of harps and harping in their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth. Which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These are going to be the Belaka children. You're going to find that out. Now, does that mean this is going to be the complete army? No. But we will see what happens. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne. So you have to understand, these are perfect. These are people who are basically perfect in the eyes of the Most High. Not saying they didn't sin, but they're basically perfect before the Most High. Okay, that would be involved in a lot of this stuff. Now, let's see where it says. And the third angel followed him, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark on his forehead or in his right hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High. And see, some people have already done this. They've already received it. And they're already worshiping the image of the beast. The same shall drink of the wine which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy Malekis and in the presence of the Lamb. See, so don't think that just because you think you know that you think you're saved, that you are. Because there are those who have been worshiping the beast unawares, and they're going to find that out real soon. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they had no rest day or night who worshiped the beast in his image, and whoever receiveth the mark of his name. So the mark that you're receiving is his name. Okay. All right. So what I'm trying to say, what am I getting at? The arsenal of the Most High is opening, and the weapons that he brings forth will be of none of the fleshly matter. And to wield his arsenal requires a spiritual connection to the Most High and in truth. To do the things that you're called to do, if you're a warrior or whatever you may be called to do, you have to understand that it's going to be a battle where you will demonstrate unlimited power, but requires you to be in a spiritual connection with Tata nZambi and Pungo Talendo, because the power comes from within. So the Most High must dwell in you. Tata nZambi must dwell in you for power to manifest. That's how it works. Okay. And I mean, dwelling you in a way that your power will be 100%. You must raise the power to be 100% to wield the power of all of whatever is given to you. And it's not something that comes easy, because you have something that has to be taught. You have to learn. The Most High has to teach these things, especially for those that don't know. So don't assume that you're just going to know how to automatically use the weapons he's going to give you. It's not a given, you know, because we've lost our connection to the Most High, Tata nZambi. You know, we've been using fleshly weapons and not spiritual weapons. That's why people don't understand. A gun cannot, a gun won't help you in this war that's to come. You may kill each other with it, but you're not going to be able to fight anything spiritually with a gun or any type of other weapon. So what I will say is, as time unfolds, and I know we're getting closer to this event, from here on out, it's going to be a whole nother situation. All the distractions are now in place, you know, more and more, as they're going to unfold this sinister plan. And you just have to be sure we prepare ourselves and we really have a strong understanding of our position in this world and who we truly serve, because not everybody's serving Tata nZambi and Pungo Tulendo in spirit and in truth, and not everybody's, even though people calling his name, they're still lukewarm. You know, many of us and some of us are still acting lukewarm, and we can't do that. I say we can't do that, not just you. We can't do that. And so it's imperative to make sure we realize the spiritual frequency determines the power level. Let me say it again. The full armor only works, the full armor of the Most High only works when the frequency is at its best. The weapons of the Most High only work when you have the frequency with the Most High. That's why people call upon stuff and you wonder, like, wow, how did they do that? How, you know, it's going to be miraculous events happening. You know, people are going to do a lot of things that will leave people speechless and uncomprehension. They might be able to comprehend, you know. But anyway, I just want to say, Zola Quingy family, Sambololo, um, this is just something to help get our people in the right mind frame now, because I just foresee that now it's going to be an intense time, and it's starting to line itself up, and people are just going to have to be prepared for it. So anyway, Sambololo, Zola Quingy, you know, Weza Yakongo Kutwala, and people be safe and take care of themselves. And get